Greetings and thank you for joining me again. This is Lisa Marie Jean-Pierre with the Goddess on the Go podcast. And I'm here with you again to give you some insights, share my perspective on life lessons and experiences that I am having with my family in my life as a small business owner and a mom on the go, doing what I need to do to support my family in moving us forward on our journeys. In this week's podcast episode, I will share with you how I'm creating the changes my family and I need to heal our individual and collective relationships. If you'd like to learn more about the services that I offer as a life coach, as a yoga teacher, as a skincare specialist, feel free to visit my website at lisamariejeanpierre.com, or you can also email me at info@lisamariejeanpierre.com. So I will say that to begin this episode off, my children are wonderful kids. They're no different than other teenagers, trying to find their way. But I felt that I needed some support when things kind of started to change in our individual relationships and how I saw them interacting with one another. And one of the resources that has supported us in the past and continues to offer useful solutions in our connections is North Carolina Outward Bound FINS. Now, that is families in need of services. It is a program that is out of North Carolina that was established many years ago, many moons ago before myself or others were even established. So I would say that it started in the 1940s. And the founder, he had a perspective that he wanted to share with young people in overcoming any challenges that they would face in life. And I would say that the program has probably expanded since then to include a lot more service-oriented resources for the participants that help them to really broaden their horizons when they return home. And, this is just a little bit about my family's journey to the Outward Bounds. I found out about Ncob FINS in 2017. Who would have thought that the Wilderness Intensive would have been something that would allow me to create a path of connecting with my kids? I never thought about it. Coming from a cultural background, it's not something that is widely talked about or widely shared about because of many limitations within culture and just a lot of different viewpoints in raising children that are melanated, African American children, Black children. So for me, it was never an option. But when I saw that my relationship with my oldest son was being challenged, I had my first experience of rebellion with my oldest son in 2017. And for me, I didn't want to paint a picture of him being caught up in the system or being challenged by anything I would do to defeat his life, perspective of how he wanted to live his life. I wanted to have a better way to communicate, a better way for him to resolve any conflicts within our communication and just connect and get along better. So that was my initial reason for reaching out to them. He went on the program for 20 days and I thought that he wasn't going to go. In my mind, I was all gung-ho and pushing the process forward. And in my mind, I still was like, okay, he's not going to go. But he decided to go. And I was so encouraged and proud of him in taking that step out of comfort, that decision to just go away with total strangers. And in his program, I think there was a total of 10 boys that participated. And they really changed his perspective on life. He learned a lot about himself during that initial process. And since then, my youngest two children have just completed their own 20 days wilderness intensive separately. And they have also returned with new perspective and just a level of self-reliance and communication tools that are supporting us in dealing better with one another and the world as a whole. So I definitely will continue to share this program with anyone that I come in contact with that I know is having challenges with their children in any way, shape, or form. The program is about supporting young people in gaining clarity, finding their way, and beyond the current challenges that they may be facing in their lives. I will say that they do focus on areas such as low self-esteem, low motivation, truancy, any issues with educational setbacks, experimenting with drugs or alcohol, children that may be running away, have poor decision making, and they're just not reaching their full potential. So they do offer counselors that are there to support young people in overcoming those challenges. Who the program is for, it's for young people ages 12 to 17 years old that are having behavior issues at home primarily, with the points that I mentioned before. It is 100% free, and they do offer courses for boys and girls separately, which is, I love that aspect of it, because it gives them an opportunity to be in their space as boys, as girls, and then they can come together to speak their voices, because I find that a lot of young people, if they live in a family with more than one sibling, it's kind of hard for them to have a voice. Whether it's feminine or masculine energy, it's hard for them sometimes to speak in their independent self. So I was very pleased by that my sons were able to, connect with other young men that may be facing similar challenges as them, and they have a different perspective of how their sisters' experience evolved. The one drawback that I see that is currently, it's not available right now for children within the family foster care system. I think that is a disadvantage that is being held against foster care kids. For certain liabilities, they're not able to participate in the program, but I hope that does change, because it is something that I truly feel will be beneficial for children, no matter the circumstances that they're living under. So I'm going to keep pushing, doing my little part to see if that will be a possibility in the future. The more that I share it with you and others, hopefully that will be a reality. I will say, in sharing my perspective, there's reality versus my expectations, of what really happened during the course of this program, of going through Outward Bound 3 separate times with my 3 children. They each came back with a total different viewpoint. So I've had 3 children participate in courses, totaling 60 days of wilderness intensive time over the last 3 years. Not consecutively. My oldest child participated in 2017, and my youngest 2 just actually finished up their programs within the last 2 months. What I gained from that time away from my children is different from their experience entirely. I see that in our communication and our interactions with one another. I will say, for me, it gave me perspective on how to be the parent that they need and not the parent that I want to be. It taught me patience, primarily with myself, and not really pushing them to just conform to an idea of how I want them to be as my children, and patience with them as well. And it taught me persistence. I think generations past have always had this way of how children are to be raised, and once they reach a certain age, then if they don't know it, then they don't know it. But for me, it's more a hands-on experience. I see supporting them in developing in many areas of their lives, whether they are in my home or into the world. So persistence in supporting them to be the best that they can be in life, whatever it is that they choose, whatever path that they will be on. Each one of my children have shared their individual unique experiences, and it's just funny to look and reflect and say, wow, it really was the best decision to send each one of you into this experience, to return with a new outlook on how your life can improve just from these 20 days. My youngest son, he says that it taught him to be more positive, and he made a lot of new friends. as a young adult homeschooler, that's important for him. He also shared that he can take ownership for things in his life now because he has outside feedback on his behavior, other than family and friends. He has other people who don't know him that can help him to be accountable with when he's not being the best to himself or for himself. So that was something that was very, interesting for him to share. My oldest son, he had his little, he had some laughter in the mix of it. He said that sturgeon are killers. I guess it's a type of fish. And he had an interaction with them on the river because primarily majority of the course is done on a lot of the rivers within Central Florida, the particular program that they participated in, because this is where we live. So they spent a lot of time on the water, and he had some some colorful adventures. I will note that they did see a lot of animals on the river, a lot of monkeys, alligators, birds, different wildlife. So it opened up their eyes to not being in the city all the time. My oldest also gained a dose of reality, while not breaking his spirit. It taught him about building long relationships and friendships with people that you don't see every day. And that's something that's important for him. It helped him to build his self-confidence, to speak his truth unconditionally, to be comfortable in his skin, regardless of how myself or his father would be, thinking of him or wanting him to be. He can own his own identity. Now, my daughter is probably the most introspective about her outward bound journey. She went in with a few preconceived notions, and we did discuss it. She was very eager to go once her twin brother decided that he wanted to go. So it was kind of like she didn't want to be too detached from him and wanted to have the same experience that he did. And she had set it up in her mind of how that was going to look. But she came back with a whole different view. She went in and all of those ideals that she had set in her mind were just demolished within a few days of the course. She learned about life perspective of other young girls, better communication, how to canoe and build a fire, and she found and made some new friends. So it really did expand, again, as I said, the relationships that they have established with others and the relationship that they are nurturing within themselves. Outward Bound FINS, North Carolina Outward Bound FINS, is a supportive program for young people and their families who are just in need of finding their way in a world that is always trying to shift how we see things and how our children see things. So it is something that can support us on our journeys to be the parents that our children need. Because in my perspective, there's no such thing as the best parent or the greatest parent ever. It's, we go with the flow of what our children need and require on their journeys and us in their lives at this time. Just a little bit about, as I said, the insights of parenting and how I am supporting my children and supporting myself in healing our relationship so that we can better connect with ourselves and one another, as well as others. To connect with North Carolina Outward Bound FINS, their website is www.ncobs.org/FINS. You can also email them at fin@ncobs.org. And their phone number is 1-800-673-3096. If you'd like to, again, connect with me to learn more about our personal experience with North Carolina Outward Bound FINS, feel free to email me, again, at info@lisamariejeanpierre.com. And I look forward to bringing you some more insights on our life journey. Peace and love to you all, and continue to make the best manifest in your life each and every day.